All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome into this AFC South Show 196 here on Curtis's Podcast Network. My name is Curtis. You can find me here. You can find me on X at Curtis PD Network, as well as the host of That Real Texas Team podcast, covering all things Texans. With me, as always, my resident Titans fan, Andrew, host of Titans Table for Two. Andrew, how you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. The draft just keeps creeping up, and I keep getting more and more excited.
Hell yeah. Down at the bottom right, we got Trevor, who is filling in for Isaiah of Third and Teal. But don't let the fact that he's filling in think that he's lesser, okay? Trevor's a good one. All right, Trevor, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. The draft is creeping up on us, so I'm excited to get in here and talk some football.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah, who needs to paint their walls or get wallpaper when you have that many jerseys?
So. I've got more. I was saying it last night.
Yeah, go this way.
Hey,
that's a true fan right there.
Amen.
We don't have a Colts fan tonight, but we do have something better.
Way better.
I mean, it's not a high bar to be better than a Colts fan, but
Amen.
Dajani of CBS Sports, it's like it's probably getting close to double-digit appearances on the channel at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks for letting me wear my orange glasses. I mean, there's trouble in paradise in Knoxville. I'm sure you guys heard that our quarterback is pitching a fit over the millions of dollars that he's being given, but he wants more, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. If he doesn't return to the team and enters the transfer portal, does that all of a sudden initiate a max exodus of talent from the University of Tennessee? A lot remains to be seen, but I appreciate you guys having me on the show this evening.
Since we're touching on it, I kind of want to just address it since we're talking about. I'm a Bandy fan, but I keep up with it. Are we looking like
what's going
he
on,
didn't
Robert?
go to practice today?
I see you down there.
Is it just for more money? Are we actually expecting to leave? Obviously, you can't go to another SEC school with the transfer rules. But where do you think is going on there?
I have no idea. And I can say that with certainty that I have no idea. Because we have multiple reports coming from all different angles. Like, the family says that there's nothing going on. And we knew that there was some temptation for him to enter the transfer portal in the winter. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure everyone else assumed that everything was right. And he was getting more money and he was happy with his current financial situation. But it doesn't appear that's the case. And as you mentioned, he wasn't at practice today. That is a big domino to fall, in my opinion. It seems like there have been more negative reports coming from reporters in Knoxville later today, which you do not like to see. So I don't know. And I don't want to imagine that it's as tumultuous as it does appear to be. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I had to put money down, I would imagine that he ends up returning to the Tennessee Volunteers. I don't have a lot of logic to base or evidence to base this off of. That's just kind of my gut feeling right now. And honestly, let's be real. That's what I'm hoping happens as well.
I think we're just kind of in the new world of NIL, right? Like,
it's terrible. I hate college
a new contract
now.
every year. Like,
yeah,
and he really didn't play well enough to earn the money he got last year.
No,
like, he played all right, but he wasn't what he was supposed to be. But that's college sports. Sorry, I just figured you brought it up. I'd ask.
You're fine. From fear and loathing about one Tennessee team, let's talk about the professional Tennessee team, the Titans. Jordan, you cover not just the Titans, you do the whole NFL at this point, right? Are you yeah.
I'm all NFL, yeah.
Hell yeah.
What do you get the Titans a little extra
So we've got your Titans 7-round mock draft pulled up. Let's kind of go over that a little bit. If I can make it. There we go.
Yeah, we don't have to go through every single pick. I'm sure we don't have enough time for that, but I'm definitely down to talk about, some of the trades that I did orchestrate down the draft board, hypothetically, of course, and maybe some picks that might have piqued your interest as well.
Yeah. So me and my, we actually went over your whole mock draft yesterday on our show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, loved it. I really enjoyed the trade back for the Titans. I think unless like someone like Egbuka or Burton were to fall to the second, trade back is the best option. Obviously there's no like full mocks. I don't know where everybody lands. I had a question. So Jaden Higgins was your pick there. So once you get past those first four, there's obviously a gap between the next tier of receivers. What makes Jaden Higgins the top of that tier? Because you have him at 5, so I guess in behind Golden, Egbuka, Burton, and McMillan. So what is he different than like a Besh, a Royals, a Harris, a Bond? What makes him better than those guys?
Yeah, like Besh, for example, is not a burner, similar to Jaden Higgins. He's kind of a competitive catch guy, doesn't have the same size as Jaden Higgins. I really do like Jack Besh, but Jalen Royals is not a Jaden Higgins either. He doesn't have that same size. I feel like Jalen Royals is a really well-rounded prospect that's probably not getting enough love. In fact, I wrote like a bold takes piece on CBSSports.com probably a couple months ago, and I even predicted that Jalen Royals might go in the first round. Of course, that's not going to happen, but that's how much I like that prospect. When it comes to Jaden Higgins, I just like the perimeter threat potential that he brings for Tennessee. Nearly 6'4", 217 pounds. He also does not drop the ball, which you love to see from some of these bigger guys. With Iowa State, he operated as a red zone threat, a jump ball guy. He's clearly able to make these contested catches against smaller defensive backs. And Dane Brugler, who released the Beast this week, which I'm sure you guys have dove into,
absolutely.
he actually compared him to what Nico Collins kind of put on tape at Michigan. I feel like Nico Collins, just in theory, has more yak ability compared to Jaden Higgins. Not to say Jaden Higgins can't run after the catch, but I'm fine with a big-bodied perimeter threat for the Tennessee Titans. We know that wide receiver is one of the biggest needs on their board. So Jaden Higgins, getting him where I got him at the end of the second round, I like that potential fit.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was thinking too. And actually, he kind of brings a different skill set than Calvin Ridley, so it kind of gives you a yin and yang for those two guys. So I enjoyed it. Then I love the fact that you doubled up on receiver and doubled up on edge too, because obviously once you get Cam Ward, that's your two biggest needs on the team. Dante Thornton, he's obviously a big play threat, but he needs a lot of polish. How long, like, he's probably not going to start right away, but the prospect of the 4.3 speed with that frame is amazing. How long do you think it would take him to really polish out that route tree and be a significant part of the offense, more than just a big play guy?
Yeah, I guess it's not good to talk about Dante Thornton while I'm literally wearing orange-colored glasses. But, I said during my radio spot this week on 104.5 The Zone, can Dante Thornton be the kind of anti-Jalen Hyatt? Like, Jalen Hyatt was one of the best wide receivers in college football that year. Dante Thornton didn't have that level of production, and Jalen Hyatt, of course, is still waiting for his breakout campaign with the New York Giants. Who knows if that's ever going to come? With Dante Thornton, talking to some evaluators, like just with people at CBS Sports who have no affiliation with the University of Tennessee, they view Dante Thornton as a guy who is being undervalued, and I feel like he is someone who might be rising up these hypothetical draft boards for NFL teams as well, because he's got that good profile. He has a great catch radius. He has the height. He's not too slim. And of course, I think his calling card would have to be that blazing speed. Like even at the NFL level, he's going to be able to break loose down the field for explosive plays, which is why NFL decision makers are going to be intrigued by him. When you bring up his route tree, I don't want to pretend like he's the best route runner in college football. I'm not saying that at all, but I had a lot of problems with Tennessee's offensive philosophy over the past year and over the past 2 years. They weren't relying on these
it seemed a lot different than like when
Hendon
Hooker was there. Like, it completely changed after Hooker left.
I was mad every single Saturday, even if Tennessee won games. It just wasn't the same fun offense, and I always wondered why. Like, Dylan Sampson was your bell cow, and running the ball was incredibly important for that offense. But there were so many times where it felt like they tried too hard to run the ball as compared to trying to push the ball down the field, which guys like Dante Thornton would excel at. So, again, I don't know if he's exactly going to take the NFL by storm, certainly not claiming that. But when it comes to what he can bring to a potential offense that wants to rely on him because he brings so many different strengths to the table, I definitely view that prospect as having a lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely a pickoff potential, which I think at that position is really fine with me, especially if you already get your receiver in Higgins. One more question on this draft. So like I said, we don't have to go through every pick. You have Swinson going, which I think a lot of people know about him, obviously SEC guy. But can you talk about David Walker a little bit less known prospect out of Central Arkansas? Not only 6'1", but what would he bring to the Titans?
Yeah, I want to say this real quickly. If you ask me the goal of the Titans draft, in my opinion, I want them to take at least 2 pass rushers. I really don't feel comfortable about that position Arden Key is kind of a complementary guy, rotational guy, maybe even at this point. Draymond Jones kind of shifts outside, inside. He's not like some solidified 3-4 outside backer in this scheme, even if Tennessee wants him to be. You don't know.
I see
if
him
that's
more
exactly.
like a Danico Autry, kind of going outside, inside, being able. That's who I see him as his replacement, even though it's been a couple of years. But I agree. But so, what does David Walker bring that we don't know about?
So it's funny. I actually tried to watch some Central Arkansas film, and I kind of had to turn it off because he was the best player on the field. He just dominated these kids. And I was like, what am I going to take away from this guy, this man amongst boys, you know? And talking with people at CBS, they actually said that it was some of the most dominant tape you'll ever see in Division I football because he was playing at a level that he was just better than. But, I mean, here's the thing. I also imagine that the Senior Bowl was incredibly important for him because he was facing draft-eligible competition, and from all reports, he did a solid job there as well. But one thing I liked about him was that he played this role in the defensive scheme where he was moving around a ton. Okay, he didn't stick on one side of the ball. He didn't stick on the outside or stick on the inside. He did a lot of different things within the scheme. And anytime I see that, I like it because not only does it bring the versatility to the table, but also that experience. It shows you that a guy can handle all that weight on your shoulders of kind of carrying a defense and being that movable chess piece within a scheme. So I don't know if he's going to take the NFL by storm like Dante Thornton or anything, but I do think that he's someone who knows how to pressure the quarterback. His motor clearly translated from the tape to my face. Like he absolutely rushed his heart out every single play. And I love high motor guys. It's one of the things I really look for when it comes to pass rushers. So he's kind of got a unique body. He's not the tallest guy. He's got some weight on him, maybe 260, 270-ish. But he's one of those guys that I would like for Tennessee to bring in because he could be a legitimate sleeper in this draft. Some people may be overlooking him because of the competition. It's always scout the player, not the helmet, boys.
Absolutely. So with him being that movable piece, he would actually work really well with Draymond Jones because they could swap him in and out and move him around a lot. Then it seems like.
Exactly right.
So I'm a big Vols fan. I want to know two questions. Realistically, where is Dylan Sampson projected to go? And then I, as a Texans fan, also want Dante Thornton Jr. Just been wanting that to
He's
happen.
been talking about him for a while now.
Yeah. So feasibly, where are both of those guys projected to land? Like
with Dylan Sampson, there's so many. I'm trying to find a running back I don't like in this class. Like there's so many good running backs, and it's like the deepest position in my opinion. And they all have different flavors, right? Like there's some big bodied guys that can be your bell cows. There's some smaller guys that can be the pass catching backs, and then there's guys like Dylan Sampson who maybe can offer you just a little bit of both. I don't know. I haven't checked with anybody. I haven't talked to anybody and asked that question because I think it's a good one. But I would imagine off the top of my head, it could be fourth round. Like if there's one knock against him, he definitely has some fumbling issues. And he's not the only back in this class, by the way, that's had some kind of fumbling issues too. But I think that he's someone who showed he could be a bell cow offensively. And he, again, we talked about the offensive philosophy with Tennessee. He was the bell cow in terms of controlling tempo on the field as well. So that's something that evaluators are going to look for. But yeah, I'm probably looking maybe fourth round if I had to guess offhand.
Okay. Hell yeah.
It's a weird thing where that tier running backs could go anywhere from fourth to sixth, honestly. Like, depending on who you like. Do you like Ollie Gordon? Do you like Dylan Sampson? Do you like Jaden Blue? You know, they're all over the place.
Yeah. Tootin'.
I think that can be said about just about everybody in this draft, though. That's one thing that makes this draft so unpredictable, I think, in a lot of cases. Like, where the top 10 is pretty seemingly locked, obviously. Like, I mean, there's a few interchangeable parts just depending on what the teams want to do. But there's so many players that could go from round one to mid-round to the second round. Like, there's so many players that could hit second round to fourth round. It really seems that this is
it's not a top-heavy draft, but a really deep draft.
It is. It's just deep in quality talent you could find in no matter what round you're looking in. I know that makes drafting, a little bit more on the unpredictable side because you've got such a deep class.
That's where you kind of trust your scouts, right? And see,
Amen.
What are your eyes telling you?
I want to see where Cam Scatterbo goes, the Arizona State kid.
Yeah.
So do I.
I kind of look alike, so I wonder if he got some hat like that.
I bet he does. I bet he wears it a lot cooler and looks better too.
Nah.
No, he doesn't have the orange shades though. That's not as he's not as dope.
That's true.
Well,
so to talk, go ahead, Curtis.
I was just going to ask. So, late round gyms, any team could find these guys. Who are some names that you've got in like the 5th through 7th round that are hugely slept on?
You talking to me still?
Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to just talk over everybody else. There's one guy that this is why I'm not a draft evaluator, because I end up falling in love with these day 3 prospects that don't offer, explosive athletic upside, or these guys that are going to be like blue chip players. There's one kid that I've been studying by the name of Hunter Waller, safety from Wisconsin. He was like people have told me that he was one of the best high school products they've ever watched out of Wisconsin. In fact, he was the first Wisconsin kid to get an offer from Ohio State since 2017. That's how good he was. And he ended up going to Wisconsin, and he played in a really bad defense, a defense that was so bad, I think they ranked second worst in the conference in the Big Ten in rushing, which meant that he as a safety had to basically clean up every single play. He was making the tackle in every single play because every single run was making it to the 2nd or 3rd level. He led the Badgers in tackles in each of the last 2 seasons, including like 130 or something ridiculous in 2023. But I like the tackling ability of this guy. He was clearly called upon to make plays in a defense that did not make many plays. I felt like he really read and reacted to things in front of him extremely well. He was able to have good closing speed. He's really aggressive, and he hits really hard, too. That's something that stood out. If you watch Hunter Waller, he actually hits really hard. He doesn't look like a kid that can lay the lumber, but he absolutely can. Now, the one knock on him for sure is, I don't think he's a coverage specialist. I think I wrote this for CBS. I don't think you want him running 30 yards down the field guarding Nico Collins. It's not going to fare a team very well. But for a box safety, somebody who's going to stick their nose in the run game and be helping in that way, Hunter Waller is a guy that is day 3, and who knows, he might have a lot of love behind the scenes. We'll have to see. One other guy I want to bring to your attention, Caleb Ransall out of Tulane. He played cornerback, but people don't know if he's a nickelback, boundary cornerback, or even a safety at this point. So maybe that kind of uncertainty is going to drive away interest from NFL decision makers. In my opinion, I think it should actually attract attention from NFL decision makers because it proves that he's versatile. And the one thing that really sticks out when you watch this guy, he may be one of the most sure tacklers out of any defensive back in this class. He did not miss tackles. Like when you watch film, you can see ball carriers are usually the ones guiding the tempo. They're the ones who look assertive. They're the ones who look confident running up to the 2nd and 3rd levels. Caleb Ransall always looked like the more confident player when he was taking people down in the open field. I don't see that very much. Almost lost my headphone. I don't see that very much from prospects. So Caleb Ransall is going to be a day 3 guy out of Tulane. He has good frame. He can play legitimate boundary cornerback. But again, what he offers in run support is very attractive.
Okay.
Both picks on the Titans mock draft as well.
Exactly right.
Just pointing that we were good with our Tulane guys. We keep bringing them in. So
yeah,
seems like I would be a great special teamer too with that sure tackling ability and everything.
Yeah.
So something we desperately need.
All right. Well, look, before we full-blown pivot into the mock draft, somehow Josh Johnson continues to find work in the NFL. Today,
I'm telling you.
Commanders. This is like his 5th time playing for Washington, it feels like.
No, this is new. This is a new time because he broke a record by signing there.
Yeah. This was
first time with the Commanders.
No, I was on the Washington beat in 2018 when Washington signed him.
Okay,
he was in a quarterback room with like Colt McCoy. Mark Sanchez, by the way, played for Washington. I doubt anybody remembers that. And Josh Johnson actually came in and played the best ball out of any quarterback. So he actually won a game in Jacksonville in 2018, started out the rest of the year. Washington was just absolutely abysmal, but they had this Josh Johnson guy who was at least like cool under pressure, offered a bit of dual threat versatility, running the ball as well. So credit to him. He's just one of those players who you love watching his story because he's played for 45 different NFL teams and he continues just to churn them out.
Dude, it's incredible, honestly.
He must be just a great locker room guy, super smart. Like, he must have all the intangibles. Because, I mean, he's going to Commanders. He's going to be a third string. You know, Jane Daniels and Mariota are both there already.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they must just love this guy. So
you basically have to. I mean, Josh Johnson's been through it all. Andrew, did you have a question?
I was actually going to ask about the Jags. They're in a weird position where I think trading back would be their best option, honestly.
Absolutely.
Or Mason Graham. But, like, what do you think the Jags should do with that? What, fifth, right?
Yeah, we're fifth pick.
Yeah. Okay. They're just it seems like because that top tier guy is going to be gone, and then when you get into that second range, like the Jalen Walkers, the Mason Graham, like they're all kind of the same depending on need, obviously. So what are you thinking they should do, Trevor?
Trevor?
You're asking me?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm not gonna lie. I've been saying for weeks now, 5 is no man's land for us, in my opinion, because I feel like Mason Graham's absolutely going to be a dominant player, but I just feel like we have other needs that are more pressing because we still don't know what we have in Mason Smith or Jordan Jefferson yet, and they're big guys that are just going to be earth-moving men, I feel like, with more time and experience. I'm not saying that they're going to turn out to be his caliber, but I feel like you need someone to help tighten up the secondary still because we brought in Eric Murray, but Eric Murray's never been that elite caliber, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to be the guy that's going to absolutely solidify it. We're giving Dewey Wingard his first shot at starting, which, don't get me wrong, I love Dewey.
With a name like that, you better be good.
But I'm not going to lie, though. When Dewey comes in, stuff tightens up. So, I mean, for sure. I love Dewey. But what bothers me is Tyson Campbell never crosses the field.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Doesn't matter if we're playing man coverage. It does not matter. He does not cross the field. That bothers me. And it also bothers me that outside of him, Jordan Lewis is a guy that tries to play in phase and it just doesn't work for him all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it last year, he gave up entirely too many yards and too many touchdowns. I mean, my opinion, I personally felt like, I'm not saying he's a bad pickup, but I felt like we paid a little bit more than we probably should have. That being said, I feel like if you're going to say, for instance, you're locked into that pick. Like, you have nowhere to go, you're locked in that pick. I don't trust Walker Little. I don't trust Walker Little at the left tackle. I do not. He's the reason. He's what started the whole injury roller coaster for Trevor to begin with. People are quick to forget that, but him getting manhandled and high stepping on Trevor's ankle is what started the whole downhill spiral.
Aziz Al-Shaair had a lot to do with it too. But
that was last year. He finished that off. Yeah, but that's a whole other spectrum.
He set him up, and then Al-Shaair knocked him down.
So would you like what offensive lineman do you like at 5? Do you feel comfortable taking an offensive lineman there?
It's not that I feel comfortable. I feel like trading back and doing that is the option. But I feel like if you're just going to heave a pick, like you don't have a choice. Like, say, for instance, they don't like any of their trade back options, and you're just going to take a pick. I feel like a lineman is definitely the way you go. You can't preach for days and days and days that it's all about protecting Trevor, and it's all about protecting Trevor. We had a need at every spot on that line going into this offseason, and we've only filled 3 of those. So,
who's the guy? If you had to go offensive lineman at 5, who's the guy? Is it Howard?
Are you taking Will?
Yeah,
I don't know but if Shador doesn't go top 3, I'm not sure he makes it there because I would think the Patriots would probably pick him, right?
Well, I don't know. I think the Patriots are going to be between Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. I don't think it'll
if Shador doesn't go top 3, it's going to go Ward, Hunter, Carter probably. And then
I think we can lock in. This is how I feel. I think we can lock in Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter,
then Will Howard 4.
4 is still no man's land in my opinion. People are putting Will Campbell there. Ashton Genty. I'm doing a mock next week. I might put Ashton Genty to New England and just really stir things up. And
because
it's about what can get the most clicks, right?
It's got to happen.
Yeah, dude. That's what a mock draft is, okay? It's total clickbait. Like, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to make it the most ridiculous thing ever. But so Ashton Genty might go there. And then Jacksonville, you kind of mentioned it as no man's land. I think that's a really accurate way of putting it. So if you draft Will Campbell, are you comfortable putting him at left tackle?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But
even
people
then, got problems with the.
Yeah, but even then, I kind of felt like we should have paid Mekhi Becton. in my personal opinion. And everybody was like, well, what about Anton Harrison? What about him? He did great. He had a good rookie year for a rookie, but he played on the left side some in
Will
college.
Howard. Okay.
Push him back. Push him to the left side. I felt like they should have paid Mekhi Becton in the offseason if we were going to throw some money at somebody. You want to tighten up a line. I felt like that was something we probably should have done.
Didn't he slide inside? Were you trying to...
Yeah, Becton played right guard, right?
Yeah, Philly put him at right guard. They were trying to, so he tried to play tackle, and then because everybody was trying to say we lost Scherf, the speculation was moving Anton because Anton's played inside too. And then Anton, it was like, no, leave Anton where he was at. Regardless, the point is, if you've got that many question marks and you've got a bona fide, certified lock of a free agent, pay him.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Yep. Because now you just let him go sit beside Alt and stiffen up a Chargers line that is going to be really tight now. Like, you should have paid him. That should have been a no-brainer. But regardless, now here we are talking again about a hole in the line because you got, as of right now, it's Walker Little, Ezra Cleveland, Makari, I'm assuming, too, they're going to put right there. I'm blanking on the other name, and then Anton Harrison. And I trust Anton with help on the inside. When Scherf was playing stiff, he played okay.
Wasn't like Hainsey or something?
Yeah, it was. No, that's it.
If you can't remember his name, it's probably not a good sign.
But it was Robert. But it was. He's an okay signing. And to be honest, I've got to give this credit. Okay, when he came in, he said we're going to raise the floor through free agency and elevate the ceiling through the draft. He's absolutely raised the floor. He put us in a unique position as Jacksonville that we're not used to. We're going into this draft and we can really go anywhere we want and it be an acceptable pick because we're not like, there's no one position group you can look at right now and be like, oh, you're absolutely shorthanded. You know, now they all could use improvement, but there's not any one that's just like a blinking red light in your face. You know, yeah. I just feel like, again, if you're going to take the pick there, it's got to be Will. For me, it's got to be Will. I just
– yeah,
he tightens up an absolute question mark.
Is there what percent chance, in your opinion, is there if the Jaguars take Ashton Genty? Because why am I seeing that in some mock drafts?
Hey, that's something I actually speculated that today with a coworker of mine. I was speculating that, and to be honest, I'll tell you why there's a chance. There's a chance because that's Liam Cohen. That's got Liam Cohen written all over it. Just a guy that's going to bruise the hole. And mainly because I feel like whether it's fair or not in some aspects, they're already moved past Travis. I mean, I think there's a reason he's not going to get paid again, I don't think.
No.
And, that being said, I do think that's a little bit unfair to him to an extent, because if you can address and say that our offensive line has been a glaring issue for years, that's also going to affect his performance as well, obviously. So I think he's getting an early wrap there, but I would think that, honestly, it's right in Gladstone's wheelhouse to do something straight out of left field. I mean, look at the heat he caught for Puka Nacua. Look at the things that they said about Puka Nacua. And then look at what Puka Nacua became. And then look at Gladstone last year bringing in 2 Defensive Rookie of the Year candidates on the same team. I mean, he's an elite level talent evaluator. That's one thing that cannot be argued. I mean, he knows how to evaluate talent. So if anyone in that building can speculate for a second that Genty would elevate this offense to another level, I guarantee you he would absolutely do it. Yeah. But that's the thing that makes this so hard. We've been struggling over on 3rd and Teal to kind of even project what we think would happen. Because honestly, if this were the Jaguars of old, it's guaranteed Mason Graham just because that's what the measurables say.
Would you be comfortable with Ted McMillan?
Absolutely, I would. Even though he ran a 4.45 and that's a little bit slower than what we, everybody thought, but it's still fast. I mean, I think that's one thing that people still need to realize. He's still going to translate to on the field speed.
That's the difference. People think that straight line speed is the same as speed.
Exactly.
Anquan Bolden, what did he run, like a 4.6 something? Like
I thought a 4.45 with him was good.
Good.
I did too.
People thought it was going to be worse.
Yeah, but people trashed him hard. But I've been saying this for months too. Is that one thing? Okay, I am a believer in Trevor. I believe in Trevor's ability. I just believe that we've only ever given him one place to look with the football that wasn't 5 yards down the field. And if you watch Jaguars games and you watch them closely, our scheme was never one that was complementary to a quarterback to begin with.
I don't want to do that to myself. Watch that.
Yeah. Well, all the routes ran the same direction, or they all ran into each other. So eventually defenses figured out, all I got to do is cover the outside of the numbers for five yards and then drop inside. That being said, though, when you move past that, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a great wide receiver for years to come.
He's a beast.
Oh, yeah. He is a monster. But the only way you can allow him to flourish is you've got to take some of the attention off of him. But I got to say this, too. Parker Washington really came into his own. I said at the beginning of last year that Parker Washington was going to be the reason we did not extend or re-sign Christian Kirk. And that's exactly what happened. Because I guarantee you it's not just the injury thing. If it was left up to just the injury thing, his personal relationship with Trevor probably would have hung him around another couple years on a cheap deal. But the fact that Parker Washington really was able to turn it on is what sealed his deal here. So what we need now, Gabe Davis is not an outside receiver. He's not. Like, I know that it's his best thing is just put him outside the numbers, let him run straight, and hope he gets there. That's not what we need. I need a bona fide, even if it's a part-time, I just need somebody that's going to be threatening enough that they cannot double and triple cover on the back end on Brian Thomas. You do that, and this offense opens up in multiple facets that we've never seen before. We've just always been one-dimensional. That's been the problem. It's one-dimensional offense.
Yeah. Andrew, go ahead and pull up the mock draft simulator. We'll get into that. We'll do 4 rounds when you get to that screen, I guess.
Yeah. We'll scroll in so everybody can see the names a little bit better.
Amen.
There we go. All right. So, obviously, everybody's assuming Cam Ward at 1, right?
It has to be.
Yes. Do I hit start or?
Oh, you're going dart?
No, definitely not going dart. Do I hit start or something? Is there somewhere to hit start?
I mean, you could set the world on fire right now if you want. But
Yeah, I need clicks too. Dang it! Is there a start button?
Yeah. Should be kind of up at the top, maybe.
Can you zoom out, maybe it's.
Yeah, it's right up there.
Where?
Next to the NFL mock draft database logo at the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good job. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just testing me. I know.
I will not be accepting any trades.
Not for that one.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, Sanders does go.
Oh my God.
That's
wow.
That's a little ridiculous, right? I mean, there's no way you trade up from 18 to 5 and don't give up another first.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, or at least, and that's not an early second either necessarily. So, no. But see, this is where that no man's land comes in because, again, like we were just talking about, Mason Graham, but with Eric Armstead, and I do believe he's going to get his production back up at his appropriate position. Mm-hmm. I think that Mason Smith is definitely going to, if nothing else, Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson, along with the fact that we still have Devon Hamilton, will buy us another year to add to that position, if it's me. So for me, I would be comfortable Will Campbell, Tet, obviously. And again, another one, like he mentioned, is an Ashton Genty, which I know for a team that's got 2 acceptable running backs that could complement each other well, I think that's not something that's outside the realm of possibility with a guy like Gladstone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give me a name, brother.
If it's me, I want Will Campbell. That's what I want.
Will Campbell.
That's what I want.
Dude. All right, now here we are for the Colts here in just a second, and
we're just gonna.
Everybody's mocking either Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, and let me tell you, the Colts on Unstabled are not.
They're not on the board for that
first round. But they also aren't really giving us a whole lot of other options. I mean,
it's going to be Tyler Warren, though. I mean, if he's there, it's going to be.
The smart pick, in my opinion, would be Will Johnson because of how badly they need secondary help outside of Ward and Kenny Moore.
Jordan, you call it. Who's it going to be?
I mean, I would look at an edge for them, and then Will Johnson I absolutely love. But I think Tyler Warren is an absurdly good fit for Indianapolis. Colts fans, it seems like they've been screaming for a good tight end for a long time now. That is something that's going to not only help Shane Steichen's scheme, but it's going to help a young quarterback, whether that's Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. So I do feel like Tyler Warren is probably one of the best players in this draft. If he falls to 14, which I think is a legitimate question, I would take him.
All right, that's the pick then.
Amen.
Done.
That's something to talk about while we wait, though, for a second, is do you see a possibility, because they brought in now Quinn Ewers on, 2 to 3 visits? I know it's 2.
Reject the trade.
Okay.
But have they not brought Quinn Ewers to Indianapolis like multiple times now?
Not this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Colts have definitely been doing their due diligence with quarterbacks. And at this point, I feel like I'm expecting them to take one. Not in the first round, but at some point in the draft, they're going to take a flyer on a quarterback, in my opinion, because Anthony Richardson hasn't shown you enough. Daniel Jones is clearly a flyer, could establish himself, maybe become that next Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield, but he's not a sure thing either. The Colts should be doing their due diligence on quarterback work, and that's exactly what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're sitting here, before you pick Curtis, Shamar Stewart, freak, absolute freak, athletically, but 1.5 sacks. Like, that doesn't scream first round. It's just all based on traits for him, I guess.
Yeah, he's a beast until he plays on Saturdays, it seems like. I mean, he's obviously got insane athletic ability.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be a first-round pick. Where he goes will be really interesting. Like, the San Francisco 49ers at 11 could be a team that potentially takes him. I've seen that in some mock drafts. If I was a team within that top 15 looking for edge help, he would not be first on my board. But NFL general managers think differently than me. They are really sucked into the traits thing. That's why Anthony Richardson went in the top 5, was because of his traits, not production. So there'll be plenty of NFL teams that are in love with him.
But yeah. Okay, what are we looking at here?
So for me, the Texans have got to be doing one of two positions. It's either got to be wide receiver or it's got to be offensive line. And I think here with what's available, I'm looking at the offensive line more so than anything else. And it's between Josh Simmons and Gray Zabel. Zabel kind of gives you a lot more positional versatility, I think.
Absolutely. He can go anywhere on that line.
Center, guard, tackle. I mean, and he's big as hell. So I'm kind of leaning towards Zabel, but I really haven't paid much attention to Josh Simmons. This is the first time he's kind of fallen this far to me. Jordan, what do you think?
Josh Simmons. That's what I'm taking. Absolutely. I like Zabel for sure, but Simmons is being overlooked because of his injury he's coming off of, but I think if he didn't have that, he'd be going pretty high in the draft. That's who I'd feel more comfortable with.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That guy's Simmons? An absolute wall.
All right, then let's go Simmons.
All right. Burden went. Jeez. Loveland. Okay. I'm going to be rejecting a first-round pick next year. That sounds nice. Especially with J.J. McCarthy playing quarterback over there. I'm not going to trade back for one big reason. Here's been my thought process the whole time. There's 4 guys that I wouldn't trade back if they fall. James Pierce, Egbuka, Burden, and Ezruku. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Those are the 4 guys. If they were to fall to 35, I'm sticking and picking. So here we have Egbuka and Pierce. What do you think, Jordan? Because I think Egbuka is a guy who can be a quarterback's best friend, always getting open. Pierce definitely has the traits like Shamar, but more production than him as well. So what do you think? These are the 2 pressing needs. Obviously, you would go with one of these 2 at this point.
Gosh, I would hate to be in this position. Oh, my gosh. I mean, dude, the Titans passing on James Pierce at this spot would be like such a bad thing.
Vols fans
would freak out. They would freak out.
I've never seen such a fan base like just. Nope, I know you're a Vols guy too, but just be like, just go trade for Hendon Hooker, go get Jalen Hyatt, let's go win a Super Bowl. You're like, dude, they didn't even win the national championship. What are you talking about? The Super Bowl.
The way I freaked out when Will Levis got selected over Hendon Hooker was just
man, we still hear it to 104.5. You hear it all the time.
And Hendon Hooker's like about to not even be on a roster. Well, I guess the same is for
They
Will
brought
Levis.
Teddy Bridgewater in just in case, Goff went down. He didn't have to come in.
Yeah, passing on Pierce would be that same level of attention. I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning towards the wide receiver, to be honest with you.
I am too. The reason I'm not because I think he's better than Pierce, because I think the gap between the top 4 receivers and tier 2 is bigger for receivers than it is edge. Like the Landon Jackleys, the Princeleys, all those guys are better. Not than Pierce, but like the gap is smaller there.
Yeah.
And it's a deeper edge class in general. So I'm going to go Egbuka. I think I agree. We're on the same page. And Jackson was right up.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just
kidding.
Zabel would be a great, but we got one offensive line already.
Yeah, so. I know. But, I will say this. We would be stupid to think that just one pick is going to fix it all. But I'm not going back-to-back line there. I like Revel Jr. a lot. I've always liked him a lot. I think he's played hard.
I like Amos too.
And I was just about to say I like Amos too. For me, I'm going DB here because the only guy that I think is certifiably going to develop into just being that dog of a corner is going to be Jarian. Because Jarian plays hard-nosed football. I don't know how much you guys have paid attention to him. He's very physical, and I think he's going to develop well, hopefully. So if it's me, I'm probably going Siobhan.
Okay.
I think
we'll
that's
go
the
right
way
there.
I would go. Yeah.
We'll take him. Gray's able. That's going to be a steal if he falls. Dude, James Pierce is still on the board. That's a steal. I did see, was it Matt Miller had him going 55 in his draft?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Reject all of them.
All right.
Oh, well, there you go.
Colts again. They already got their tight end of the future. They lost a center. They lost a guard.
Zarier's still there too. I always think he's gone by then because of the way he's went up. That's pain.
I think it's got to be one of those two guys, right?
Yeah, I feel like they've got to be going
Amos or Azarie.
Yeah.
You have a preference on one of those two, Jordan?
Probably Amos.
Okay. I think that's what I think too. I like Amos. I think it's a steal at this point.
Yeah.
They did pass on some good offensive linemen there, though.
Yeah.
And they are going to have to rebuild that offensive line soon. It was one of the best in the league a couple of years ago, but it's slowly getting worse and worse. Quilton Nelson can only take you so far.
Yeah.
We look out here. Fall back 3 picks. That's not bad. Fall back 3 and pick all those.
Reject. I'm not
no trades. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So you got your offensive lineman. There's the Jaden Higgins.
Ooh.
I like Elijah Arroyo a lot.
Me too.
Scroll down just a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay, you gonna scroll down or not?
Oh, I had that problem earlier too.
There's Trey Harris. These are all those receivers we talked about. They're all kind of just bunched together.
All right, go back up to the top.
Sir, yes, sir.
Aye, Captain.
Just pull the trigger on Jaden Higgins.
There you go. You got 2 Nicos because he said he was just like Nico. 2 Nicos on your team can't go wrong.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but if you ever heard, if you've got 2 Nicos, then you have none.
It's funny they compare him to Xavier Hutchinson too.
Wow.
So just the same kind of guys.
Now, obviously, one thing I want to point out too is everyone has us taking more tight ends. One thing I want to point out, it's Britton Strange's time now, and we just signed 2 tight ends.
Who?
Hunter Long and somebody, I don't even know the other guy. Never heard of him, but again, though,
I think he's a guy you've never heard of that doesn't keep you from drafting one for sure.
Sounds like you need a tight end.
That's what I'm hearing.
I was about to say. I was just about to say I can see it happening, but they're blocking guys. They're not there to be pass catchers. If those guys run out into a heavy set, right? I know he's a receiver, and that's what I was just about to say. Is if we drafted one, he's not the one. So can we scroll down a little bit? Mm-hmm. Just take a little peek. That's tough because I still like Isaiah Bond sitting there too, because I was just talking about I need somebody that's got the speed and ability to make an open route on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's interesting there because, again, it's like we talked about the tight end position. He's not the tight end we need, though. That's a little bit out of character there. What do you think, Jordan? Where do you go here?
We got to make sure Isaiah Bond's not in jail right now.
Well, that I completely agree with. Yeah.
I
think he posted bond, so we're good.
Oh, posted bond.
He's gone.
I can't even see the freaking screen.
They're all orange.
I also like Josh.
All these players play for Tennessee.
Yeah.
There's Royals.
What about Jalen Royals?
I do like Jalen Royals a lot. I like Royals a lot too, and that does eliminate the character issue. So,
all right, let's
I'll be comfortable with Jalen Royals. Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
This is where it gets boring for me in the third round because I don't have any picks. All right, back to back here, Houston. We're going to deny all trade requests. All right. See, this is what's been talked about a lot: is the fall of Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
Can you see him falling this far, down to 79?
I think, yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. I think he's a good player, but
he has that motor you talk about for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons I like him. But I don't know. I think it's very questionable what kind of upside he brings. So around this range is probably what I'm thinking. It wouldn't shock me at all.
Florida State defensive tackle Farmer.
Yep.
That's a big-bodied guy, right?
Yeah. Josh Farmer is a big dude.
And then right on to the Colts. So they got their secondary, they got their tight end. What we think they have receivers, but they're nobody that just stands out.
What about the linemen? What about the offensive linemen?
Yeah,
Marcus Mbo.
I think Colts fans would be panicking if this was their draft right now. They don't take a lineman right here.
All right, let's go with Mbo.
I was about to say I would be panicking. That's an A+ pick right there.
All right, back to back with your boy Trevor first.
All right. So,
all right, we got receiver, corner, offensive tackle so far.
That's another. This is one of the things where, like, if I'm drafting, I know that our corner room it needed help, and I know we took Siobhan. But also, so if you think about it, right now, say we got Siobhan, that means we got Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones, Siobhan, and Jordan Lewis. And then with DeAndre Prince in the back, with Monteric coming in, I find it hard for them to take another DB right there until they know what they've got with what we've got.
Yeah.
Now, Demetrius Knight is an interesting thing because they did not extend Devin Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
They did not pick up his fifth-year option. And I'm going to be honest, in my personal opinion, I don't see him ever picking his career back up. He just did not. He fell flat on his face. Now, Ventrell Miller is promising. We like Ventrell a lot. But if it's me, I'd probably go Demetrius Knight. What do you think, Jordan?
No, I like that guy. I would probably scroll down a little bit, but I like that pick.
Yeah,
that was my options at this point. I have no idea what options I got here.
This is that would be like, just look at the top 5. That was my initial thought too.
Yeah. Because that's about where I fell on it. As soon as I saw that first of all, he's still there. And second of all, like I said, we've already got the DB,
All right, it's your last pick of the mock. Make it count.
All right. We're going to get another offensive lineman.
Looking for more like an interior guy, like a Jared Wilson.
Jared Wilson out of Georgia.
All right.
Hey,
there's your top 4, brother. You happy with that? The draft goes that way?
Damn Skippy.
You got, look at that, A+.
Well, I say you got great grades. I'd be happy with that. Hell yeah.
Right. Better than you ever did in school.
How would you know? How would you know?
Yeah, I see you all the time. I can just
Cam Scatabo to Detroit. That would be disgusting.
All right. I think at this point, you got to look for an edge. So I'm just going to actually click edge up here and see what we're looking at. Oh, man. There's David Walker. I mean, you had him ranked a lot higher than that 137, too, right?
Yeah, where did I have him?
You had 17th ranked edge, but like I said, he's in that same tier. So, I mean,
that comes back to that depth you mentioned earlier.
Is he a better value at this point than Savion or Ivy?
No, probably not. Let me see where I have like a 7th-round pulled up for us. I'm trying to figure out the different values.
let's see here.
Man. Yeah, that's tough. He might be that guy there. Let me see where he went in this one. David Walker and my buddy Chris Trapasso's 7-round mock went 115 to Arizona. So we're around that range. But it's up to you. It's your pick, Mr. Mike Borgonzi.
Borgonzi. I'm gonna listen. I like what you said with his motor and being able to, move around the line in the front. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Take your.
All right, Jacksonville.
All right.
You got 2 more. Geez, they have a lot of picks in the top 4. Holy crap!
We have 10 picks in this whole draft. So
Go off. We got the edge. Sorry.
Edge is actually where I was thinking. So one thing that I think doesn't get talked about enough in Jacksonville is our lack of functional depth there. If Trayvon Walker or Josh Allen come off the field, we're not getting edge pressure. We're just not. I like Jared Ivey and I like Savion Jones. I think at that point you're not missing out too heavily on either one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jordan, you've definitely studied these guys a little bit more than I have. What would you think there?
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at the 7-round mock, and you're at 107. Guess who Chris Trapasso at CBS has Jacksonville taking at that pick?
Savion Jones.
Savion Jones.
Amen, brother. It's almost like I know what I'm doing sometimes.
Yeah.
We're not going that far.
Oh, God.
All right, let's get this the horse jockeys out the way. All right, 117. We got their offensive line, got their corner, got their tight end. We go to all.
Kevin Winston being there.
It's going to be Kevin Winston for sure because that all they keep talking about over there is how much they need a safety.
Yeah,
and they haven't got one yet, so it's going to be Kevin Winston.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I was saying, that's A+. Amen.
Okay. All right.
Oof. Final pick of the draft. Make it count. Sam's right there.
No, it's not going to be Samson. I'm going to pick this guy just because they brought him in for a 30 visit and talked to him. Well, it's going to be Terrence Ferguson.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right, and this should be we got like two more Jacks.
This is our last Jack pick, and we're done.
I like Charles Grant off the rip. First of all, I was just about to say,
right here in this position is amazing.
That's
another guy the Titans have brought in for a 30 visit.
And one thing I'd like to say too is like when we did third and teal last night, if you can, like Curtis, you'll remember, is I said the only way the Jaguars can lose this draft is to only address the offensive line one time and think it's good.
Yeah.
I think that's the quickest way to lose this draft. I love Charles Grant right there.
He's listed as an interior offensive lineman, but he has the ability to go inside and out.
And that's what we need, because if one thing Jacksonville did get shown really quickly is that even the starters we had, first of all, I was not a fan of our starting line, but we definitely got shown that the depth at that line is horrid. Horrid.
Is there anything that a depth offensive line can do to keep their job? It's play inside and out. To be active on Sundays. If we can put you at multiple positions, that frees up an active spot for another playmaker or another special teams player. So Charles Grant's the pick here.
Oh, for sure.
I think we'd all be pretty happy if the draft went that way.
I know I would be. I absolutely would be.
So it looks like we're about out of time with you. But I did have before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you about your latest article about L'Jarius Sneed. What have you heard? What's going on exactly? With people who haven't read it have already read through it, but
yeah, you asked me what I've heard, which is really funny because how did L'Jarius Sneed get arrested in Texas like months ago and no one knew about it?
Yeah,
we literally found out about that today.
It's like one of those just ask for forgiveness, kind of thing. Wait till they find out.
A super scary situation, honestly. I mean, what's interesting is that the Associated Press, I believe, broke the news, and the police report that they obtained was heavily redacted. So in terms of the context and what exactly went down, we don't exactly have specifics. But apparently there was a guy who was in a luxury car lot at a dealership, in a car looking at it. He was doing some research for his company or something, and either L'Jarius Sneed or someone who they have dubbed his personal assistant reached out of his Lamborghini and fired shots toward that general vicinity. Now, no one was hit by any bullets, but they were able to identify and realize who was in that car. They still don't know if it was L'Jarius Sneed or the other person who they have called John Doe now in the lawsuit and fired those shots. But on top of that, they both of these people were arrested. We didn't hear about it. And then furthermore, L'Jarius Sneed and apparently a woman who identified herself as L'Jarius's mom called this guy who was filing the lawsuit, who was allegedly shot at, telling him to not cooperate with police and not hire a lawyer, which of course he did and filed this civil lawsuit. So that is kind of the information we have at this point. It's obviously not good. The Titans are aware of it. They responded to the Associated Press saying that they brought it up with the NFL and that there's protocols that come along with this. But yeah, an unwanted and certainly unneeded situation in Tennessee as they gear up to try to improve what was the worst team in the NFL this past season.
You didn't have to say it like that. I'm just glad I'm not hanging out at luxury car lots anymore. I used to spend my days there, but
Yeah, it's not safe anymore.
It's just not good for me anymore. It's like, I'll stick to my Ford EcoSport.
Man. All right. Well, I think this is a good spot to go ahead and wrap it up. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your evenings to come on and talk ball. Jordan, thank you for taking time out of your evening. I know you're busy and, you also got to do your own personal life on top of, business and your career and everything. So thank you for that and coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, it's been awesome, dude.
Thank you very much, man. You've been awesome.
If you're not aware, go to CBS Sports, follow everything that Jordan Dajani does. I'm sure he'll have something out very soon that everybody will enjoy. You said something about maybe doing a 7-round mock or something later.
Yeah, I'm doing a first-round mock later next week, and I'm sure I'll have way too much fun with it.
Oh, naturally.
But gotta wear the hat. More fun that way.
Be on the lookout for that, y'all. Head on over to That Real Texas Team podcast, like, subscribe, do the same thing for Titans Table for Two and Third and Teal and Unstabled and here on this channel. Like, subscribe, notification bell as we're trying to grow and hit the 600 subscriber mark here. So thank you. Be good people.
And fuck the Colts.
Fuck the Colts.